What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Jose Show. Happy Wednesday. Now let's get into the first topic of the day. Now let's start off with JoJo Siwa and Chris Hughes, because JoJo Siwa and Chris Hughes turned up the PDA during the red carpet debut Tuesday night. So apparently, there is a clip that shows them walking the carpet at the 2025 Dancers Against Cancer Gala of the Stars in Los Angeles. The two are completely smitten with each other as they cuddle up in front of photographers. So apparently, Chris even goes in for a sweet smooch on the cheek at one point, and as the gallery shows, the pair kiss on the lips too. You can tell the couple is totally locked in as they smile and giggle their way down the carpet. Alright, so as we all know, JoJo and Chris met on the UK Celebrity Big Brother Season 24 earlier this year, where they formed a fast friendship that blossomed into a romance not long after they wrapped filming. Okay, so we even learned Chris got Abby Lee Miller's approval over the summer after she questioned him at an event they attended, to make sure he's going to treat her dance prodigy right. Alright, so this is insane, ladies and gentlemen, that JoJo Siwa and Chris Hughes got to be showing off their little romantic side at a red carpet just yesterday, because this comes to show that JoJo Siwa and Chris are happily, openly in love, and that they really don't care about what other people have to say about it. And what's even more insane is that this is coming after the fact that JoJo Siwa broke up with her girlfriend, I think a year ago, which, by the way, the relationship with her girlfriend only lasted for 6 months, and it came out of nowhere, by the way, that they broke up, which to me is kind of fishy. But maybe what happened was that I believe the relationship might have ended long before JoJo Siwa decided to get into this romance with Chris Hughes, and then JoJo Siwa was all like, okay, well, maybe Chris Hughes has a lot more to offer than this girl that I was dating in the past, and at the end of the day, I have the right to move on. Okay, so I believe it's also really insane, though, how JoJo seems so happy with this guy and Chris seems so happy with her, and they're definitely okay, well, maybe we're gonna take the next step later on in life and so forth. And I believe that JoJo Siwa has lasted with this guy way longer than JoJo Siwa did with her girlfriend, and I'm hoping the best, man. I really am, because they really make an adorable couple. Chris Hughes is really handsome, JoJo Siwa is really pretty, and they seem like they really have a really good connection, despite the fact that Chris Hughes is 32 years old and JoJo Siwa is 22 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, and it's kind of insane how there's still that connection, because usually I wouldn't see that much of a connection in between a 10-year or a 10+ year gap, but it's just one of those things where, they got into a really good friendship, they worked together in a reality show, and they, really got to connect so well to the point that they started to know each other super well, that then later on they were like, okay, well, maybe we are definitely in the same page where we can be in a relationship, and we are already falling in love with each other anyways. All right. I think that's exactly what happened here, and I don't blame JoJo Siwa, I don't blame Chris Hughes at all, okay? And I wonder what the girl has to say, though, about this whole entire relationship, and by girl, I mean the ex of JoJo Siwa, okay? Because, sometimes those exes, they might say bad things about you and about your current relationship and so forth, because they're either jealous or because maybe they have something that, in their head that we don't know of what they went through, and so. So I don't know, but anyways, at the end of the day, this relationship maybe is here to stay. Maybe, okay? But good luck to these two lovebirds, and that's all I have to say about this. All right, now on to the next topic. So Young Thug attempted to play peer mediator between Chris Brown and Kevin McCall's never-ending beef, a wasted effort because Breezy is telling the world he's been chunked the deuces on that relationship. Okay, so after Kevin's mental breakdown over $25,000 payment Chris supposedly owed him on the Back on Fig podcast went viral, Thug intervened and told the struggling singer-songwriter that Chris, the mega star, likely had been too busy to address whatever issues they were having. Alright, so on the contrary, Chris had seen the interview and he had the time to respond and had no mercy for Kevin's crocodile tears or his money woes. Alright, so Chris posted to his IG stories, remember this, you can't walk across a burnt bridge, and you know what's funnier than a troll? A broke one. The response may sound harsh, but Kevin has been gunning for Chris in the public eye recently. Okay, so apparently, before the tearful interview went viral, Kevin clowned Bryson Tiller with gay jokes after he gifted Chris a grand gesture with the new Lamborghini for taking him along the ride for his Breezy Bowl XX tour. Okay. So let's remember that Kevin proved he was on EBT government assistance by pulling out his card on stream, but it clearly won't be Chris breaking him off with any residuals, and this is all according to TMZ. Alright, so this is insane that there's this beef going on in between Chris Brown and this Kevin McCall dude, all because of some payment that happened way back in the past. I think that, you know what, if there's gonna be owing going on here with some certain amount of money, you know what, Kevin, I believe that you are better off not getting into a beef with anybody when it comes to money. Okay, because Kevin, if you're gonna be beefing with somebody, especially with somebody like Chris Brown, you are going to be putting yourself into more fire than you already have been with this guy, because of the fact that Chris Brown is somebody to not mess with. I mean, the guy got to punch Rihanna in the face way back in 2009. And we're talking about a guy punching a woman, okay? Also, Chris Brown, he unfortunately is well known to be having bad temper problems. And it's not to be shading on Chris Brown at all. I'm just saying. So, Kevin, if I were you, I would just be careful. I would be like, okay, oh well, he owes me money, but at the end of the day, I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. I don't want to get beat up. I don't want to get into any horrible issues with this man. And that's it, you know? I mean, I completely understand that you're upset because Chris Brown owes you $25,000, which, by the way, is a mega amount of money. And, you know, you need that money. But, you know, maybe a safer way on how you can even pull this whole entire thing is maybe you can sue him, maybe, because I mean, I believe that is like the safest way that you can actually get your money back, and that's like the safest way that you can confront the person. But that is just what I suggest towards you, okay? But when it comes to like beefing, when it comes to confronting, I definitely do not recommend you do that to this guy, Chris Brown, okay? Now, I think, in my personal opinion, that Chris is over here trying to call attention by clapping back at this guy, Kevin McCall, with all of these things that he got to be saying about Kevin McCall on his IG stories, when in reality, this poor guy is already broke, all because of Chris Brown not being able to be paying him back the $25,000. Okay, and it, to me, it's just something that is just not to be having shame for. Like, he could have been like, okay, bro, if I owe you this amount of money, then I'm going to be paying you back this amount of money at this certain time period. Okay, just keep it low, just keep it cool and between bros in the music business, and that's it. I mean, there is just no need for a reality show and between two dudes, all because of money, and then later on go off and then get a bunch of people to be like, oh my god, well, I'm team Chris, I'm team Kevin, I'm team neither, and so forth. It, like, no. So anywho, and at the end of the day, man, I mean, it can be very angering too, you know, just having to know that somebody owes you money, but they won't be paying you back, and they won't even give you an explanation as to why they won't be giving you back the money. So that's the thing. So interviews like this, by the way, really do make a huge difference. I mean, it can cause a lot of controversy, it can cause a lot of issues, it can cause a lot of weirdness and so forth, but I mean, at the end of the day, this interview, I mean, really was like something that, Kevin McCall just wanted to go off and vent and be like, okay, well, you know what? This beef is going on in between me and Chris. I mean, if I can be venting it to Chris, if I can be venting it to certain people, then I might as well just vent it here on this podcast where I feel safe and where I feel like I can definitely be heard and understood. That's the thing here. Okay, so I believe I kind of know where Kevin McCall is coming from. But anyways, that is all I have to say. Let's see how this whole entire situation is going to end up. All right, now on to the next topic. Now, Travis Kelce just revealed what he orders when he's at his and Patrick Mahomes' new steakhouse, and the dishes are a lot like the way his fans would describe him, rich and buttery. So the food topic came up during Wednesday's episode of New Heights when Jason Kelce announced he'd be heading to 1587 Prime for the first time next week while he's in Kansas City to cover the Chiefs' Monday Night Football matchup with the Commanders. Okay, so Jason asked Travis what he should order once he plops down into one of the swanky joints booths, and the younger Kelce gave him some recommendations. Okay, so the Chiefs' tight end suggested starting with lobster rolls, hamachi, and the steakhouse's unique twist on cheeseburgers and chicken nuggets. Alright, so then he unveiled his go-to order when it comes to entrees, telling Jason he goes for the Japanese A5 and white strip steak with black truffle butter and a side of truffle fettuccine, a feast that sets a normie at the restaurant back about $173. Jason wasn't thrilled with the order. He admitted he's not a fan of adding butter compounds, but he said he'd go through with it because I love you. Okay, so apparently the eatery, as you know, opened last month, and Travis and Taylor Swift have already been spotted having a few date nights there. No word yet on what the Opalite crooner gets, but we're pretty sure her signature cocktail makes the cut, and this is all according to TMZ. Okay, I believe, in my opinion, that it's really cool that Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce are out there going to these fancy restaurants, especially Taylor Swift, because I remember seeing in a photo like yesterday or the day before that Taylor Swift got to be joining in on a date night with Travis Kelce at this very beautiful restaurant. And I think that these date nights are really working out in between Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, because this is really uniting them so well as a relationship. Because if there's one thing that is really important in a relationship is, yes, respect and love, but also to be going to really good restaurants that have really good food that really satisfy your couple. And I'm not surprised that they ended up going to these fancy restaurants anyways, because we're talking about Taylor Swift with Travis Kelce. We aren't talking about any other couple. And I think that Taylor Swift might have really good taste when it comes to food anyways, because the woman, I can tell is very picky. I can tell that she is really picky even when it comes to the restaurants. And then Travis, man, he just seems like he's somebody that wants to keep going fit, and he wants to keep on with the good foods, and he wants to keep on with satisfying his girl and so forth. So, the connection is on right there. Okay, and with them going out to these restaurants, I think that this is a perfect way of them to try the food that they are eating, because I believe that when they are tasting the food that they are eating, they can make sure on what foods would be perfect for their entrees for their wedding. So that way their guests can end up getting satisfied with the foods that they are offering and the entrees. Because the first thing that guests want, yes, is the entertainment, but also they want the really good food. All right. And we're talking about a really big wedding, I can imagine. I don't think it's going to be just any small wedding. So I think that this is definitely a way of planning here on what they're doing here and going out to these really fancy restaurants. I'm pretty sure that they've gone to these fancy restaurants even way before they even got engaged. But now I believe that now it's like being taken so seriously, and going to these fancy restaurants all for the taste trying. And that's really valid. Okay? But anywho, Man, I would love to go to these type of restaurants one day, really. And you know what? By already hearing that they are going to these fancy restaurants where there is steak, I'm already getting hungry. I'm already getting desperate right now. Like Jesus. But anyways, this is amazing. And man, this couple really is amazing in all levels. All right. But on to the next topic. So Donald Trump is considering commuting Diddy's sentence as early as this week, according to a high-ranking White House official. So, according to our source, the president is vacillating on a commutation. We're told some of the White House staff are urging Trump not to commute the sentence, but our source states the obvious. Trump will do what he wants, and we're told Trump would set Diddy free as early as this week. Okay, so Diddy is serving a 50-month prison sentence for violating the Mann Act. He served 13 months, and with credit, he could get out in around 2 years, but none of that matters if Trump commutes his sentence. Okay, so as we all know, Trump commuted the sentence of former Congressman George Santos last Friday. And now there is an update about this, and the White House Communications Office is saying our story is not true. We stand by our story. Our story is accurate. And this is all according to TMZ, by the way. Okay, so I believe that TMZ is actually really accurate with what they said about Trump planning on commutating Diddy's sentence this week, because, I mean, if Trump was able to be commuting George Santos's case, then I believe that this man will definitely commute Diddy's sentence because of the fact that, you know, let's remember that Trump is a fraud and he's a corrupt person that really cares about commuting sentences of corrupt people. Okay? And it's because the man is not okay, in my opinion. And I think that since Trump, unfortunately, is going to be commuting Diddy's sentence, high probably, then I believe that Trump is going to be, you know, speaking up for Diddy, and he's going to be like, oh my God, well, Diddy is a good guy. He doesn't deserve to be in prison, and they did a lot of injustice to the poor man throughout all these months, and on so forth, and blah, blah, blah. And you know, unfortunately, there goes to a point where then, you know, Diddy is going to be thanking Trump, and then Diddy is going to be supporting Trump and so forth. I can already see that happening, and that's so sad and that's so scary. Like, I really hope that that does not end up happening, because, I mean, we're already going through a situation where a lot of injustices are going on in this country from this corrupt man. And if this happens, where Diddy ends up free all because of Trump, then I believe that Diddy is going to think that he's going to be above the law to be doing whatever the hell he's been doing. And unfortunately, he's going to continue to do what he has been doing. And by that, I mean, he's going to continue to be, you know, prostitute. He's going to continue with his, what's it called? Prostitution transportation. He's going to continue to be sex trafficking women and raping women and so forth. Then it's gonna be so darn scary that then later on, you know, it's gonna be to the point then Trump is gonna be like, okay, well, I know that he's doing all of these things, but I'm gonna hide him. I'm going to make sure that none of this gets to happen. I mean, we're talking about the same guy that ended up, you know, with Jeffrey Epstein doing a bunch of dirty crap, and none of us know about any of those things because unfortunately the Epstein files have not been released. So that to me really makes sense. If Diddy ends up getting released, then Trump can most likely back him up in so many ways. So, oh my God, I really am just nervous about this. I'm hoping that the White House is definitely telling the truth here, that TMZ is not telling the truth about this story. Oh my Lord. But anywho, on to the next topic. So North West, Kim Kardashian and Kanye West's eldest daughter wore a bold look while hanging out with friends. The 12-year-old styled her hair in waist-length blue braids that matched a bejeweled manicure. She also wore temporary face tats, colored contacts, and a grill, matching her peers who wore similar ensembles in different colors. Okay, so apparently Northwest really looks weird with the new hair trend that she has because I think that she looks like, I don't know, a girl that is not coming from a good family. I mean, not that she is coming from a good family, anyways, because unfortunately, the influence from Kim Kardashian and the influence from Kanye West is already bad enough for the poor girl that now it's led her to be looking like a weirdo. And then the tattoos that she has on her face look even worse on her, by the way. So I don't know, but something tells me that Northwest is going to grow up to be worse than Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. And that's very scary. If I were Kim and Kanye, I would definitely be like, girl, you are only 12 years old. You need to live your childhood. You need to dress a certain more modest way, okay? Because you are definitely showing a very bad image here, especially to all of your peers from school. And that is if this girl even goes to school. And yeah. And it's just one of those things that I think that they're teaching this girl to become some type of thug already at a very young age. It's just so darn weird. Like, I believe that, when it comes to these little girls that come from these high, rich A-list celebrities that, by the way, are in Hollywood, these little girls turn out to be not so well, okay? And I don't mean it for all the little girls. I'm just meaning it for most of them because of the fact that these A-list celebrities believe that these daughters of theirs should be living their own life, living la vida loca type of way, okay? And this is exactly what is going on here with Northwest. Now, I'm afraid it's going to happen too with Saint West. It's going to happen with the rest of the children of Kim Kardashian and Kanye. And man, Jesus Christ, I really do not want to know if any of these kids are going to end up in legal trouble in the near future because of how bad I'm seeing things already with this girl. Oh, Lord, no. Oh my God, I feel bad for the Kim Kardashian family. I feel bad for the Kanye West family. I feel bad for the Jenners. I feel bad for all of them. Okay, but anywho, that is it for today's show, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's lovely episode of The Jose Show. Till next time, and peace.